He knew it like the palm of his hand. He was in the 80s.
This was in.
He's 70, right?
Hmm.
In what years?
Oh, I thought you meant 1980.
No, no, he was
He was in his 80s.
in his 80s.
Oh.
This was 1960.
So how did you do on the test?
Are they doing a test? Mm-hmm. All right. We are on the fourth line from the bottom of page Hay.
No, we stopped here. Mishum Za'imrim.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. The thing is like this, that this parenthesis over here, I don't know if we are ready to delve into it.
Where does the parentheses start?
Dam. The im came.
Yeah, Vamitas in Care, that's the line starts Berotzen here.
Ah, the one that we've been in the.
And that's what we're in, right? we spoke about it briefly. The Indian from Metzius, Eine Metzius Nimtza. We spoke about it. Adin Elo Mashamola Beterem Kol Yitzu Nivro. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So we are not skipping it, but neither are we going to delve into it to the depth that it actually deserves, because we're not quite ready for this yet to talk about this. Okay, to start exactly where we left off is not it's in the middle of a sentence essentially. We have to go back you have to go back to the line before. Essentially, what we already discussed last time. We're saying that koyach, everybody has a place?
Mm-hmm.
Not from Amnon?
No, a little bit before. Ki mashma. Yeah.
Okay.
That Lamailo koyach without pale doesn't exist bichlal. Because every koyach is already a creation. Full-fledged creation is self-contained and it's complete in itself. Where is that? This is where the parenthesis comes to insert. That there is such an union of koyach by itself, without poyach. And that is only in atzmius. In Atzmius, this is where it's possible to speak of a koyach without a poyach. Because in Atzmius, nothing came into being, nothing was revealed, nothing was created from a state of there not being. Everything that's Atzmius, this is inherent in the Atzmius itself. This is because of the Atzmius itself. And then, this inyan that it's inherent in the Atzmius is not to say that it is literally contained in the Atzmius. But Atzmius is absolutely everything. And thus, from this perspective, we say that everything is possible from Atzmius. But not that everything is actually existent and present there. So we're saying that this is where it's possible to say that there is koyach without poyach. Because if it is created, if a koyach is created, there's already the poyach with it at the same time. Where is there a koyach without poyach? A koyach which is not created at all. This is as the inyan is contained in the Atzmius. Because everything in Atzmius, nothing is created. This is the essence itself. And this is what he explains now. That Atzmius, that even though Atzmius carries and bears and contains everything, but it's not to say that it contains everything in any identifiable way, or in any way that can be distinguished between the etzem and what it contains. There's no such distinction. Kiyim, only mashe ho'atzmus mechayev hakoyel. It is the inyan that atzmus is mechayev hakoyel. Atzmus force of mechayev means forces everything. Maybe I'll stop and explain this term a little bit. Atzmus mechayev hakoyel. There are two concepts: nothing and everything. Nothing and everything have a lot of similarity between them. If we project our thought a little bit, I mean, we have no idea what's meant everything, but if we project our thought, when we say everything, in anything that is within our concept, you cannot say that it is everything. It is everything that this thing calls for, that makes it perfect, but not everything. When you say that something is absolutely everything, you cannot be speaking about something that contains everything. It means that inherently it is everything. What does that mean? This we will understand from understanding a little bit about nothing. When you have a piece of paper, and this piece of paper has got this writing on it. So you say, this is a page in a Maimer. If this piece of paper were blank, then this piece of paper, what does it contain?
Nothing.
Nothing. What can you put into it? Everything. There's absolutely no limit what you can put into it. Everything. Except that this piece of paper literally has nothing. If you put anything into it, it is because you're adding, you're putting it in. Not that the paper itself calls for it says that it is totally nothing else. It's totally unlimited, totally undefined, and therefore everything that you put into it, anything you put into it, is already inherently contained in the paper. It's not true, because it's really nothing. But it allows everything to be put, or anything to be put. This will give us a sense when we say that this is nothing to do, but not literal nothing, but that there is no definition whatsoever. And everything is not only possible to put into anything to be put, but everything is mechayev. It's actually forced and actually comes from it, because it is totally without limit. Totally without limit, but not that it is nothing. It is so perfect that it is without limit at all. If it is so perfect that it's without limit at all, therefore it produces everything. In other words, it is nothing, but in the exact reverse of nothingness. That it actually has absolutely no limit. It is, and therefore it is the source of everything. A moshel for this inyan is the koyach hatzameach sheba'aretz. Koyach hatzameach. In the earth there is a koyach hatzameach. Koyach hatzameach means that if you plant something into it, it'll grow. And as the Alter Rebbe explains, that if it grows, it's not growing from the kernel, it's growing from the koyach that's in the earth. The kernel is only the one, it's only the elicited, only the solicitor that calls out from the earth this koyach to produce this grain and this growth. But the koyach to grow it it comes from the earth. So when you take a piece of land upon which nothing is planted, what can you plant there? Anything. And anything that you will plant will grow. And in this case, it will actually grow from the earth, not that from a piece of paper you put whatever you want. It will actually grow from the earth. It actually be forced out from the earth. What is the state of this koyach hatzameach prior to planting it? It is a state, it's a koyach hatzameach for everything. But how can you have something for everything? It's because it is in such a neutral state, such an essential state, that it has absolutely nothing, no definition. Since it has no definition, it can grow everything. So we have a moshel on this inyan that nothing is a source for everything, an actual source for it.
When I read this, I thought I'm trying to come up with my mashalim, but in my head I had the mashal that Abba Paltiel is like the first cell.
I'm sorry?
The first cell in conception. Like, that's like what I thought in my head. The first cell in conception, like it's definably nothing. Like there's no characteristics. But like this, it doesn't contain particulars in it, but this is what allows or what necessitates for every limb and every particular organ of the body to come from it.
The what do they call it? The cells that can be mutated to absolutely any.
Well, yeah, but
anything.
essentially, I mean, at conception, there's one cell. There's the two meet and it becomes one cell, and from there the process moves forward. So I don't. Maybe I'm saying this because maybe my understanding is wrong.
Yeah. Well, I hear it is also a moshel, but not as close and as accurate as the Moshe from Koyach HaTzameach. Because the cells that they should develop in various ways, there are external effects. Why it goes in one direction or another. Here we talk about the Koyach HaTzameach Shebe'oretz itself producing the various plants. In other words, it actually contains. You're saying that this is a neutral. It's like saying a brick. This is a brick. Where does it belong? What brick? It's a brick that you can put in any place in the wall. Depending where it comes up to your hand, where its turn is, that's where it's going to go. Not that the brick has everything. Okay? Because the brick remains what it is, and the cell remains what it is, except from it can develop different things. Here, the Koyach HaTzameach doesn't change, even after you plant a specific plant. It doesn't mean that now the Koyach HaTzameach has been finally defined and it no longer has the Koyach HaTzameach. It absolutely has the whole Koyach HaTzameach. And everything it grows mamash out of it. Tachi Horetz Desha. Hashem said, Tachi Horetz Desha. Let the earth produce growth. This command contained in it the koyach for absolutely anything that can grow. And that's what's contained in the earth. In what state? In a state of nothing. And therefore, this is when we say here, that the atzmus does not contain in it the koyach anything, but ki mashal atzmus mechayiv hakoyach. This is what mechayiv. Mechayiv means because of the perfection of atzmus, it lacks nothing. There is nothing that can be said that it cannot be sourced in atzmus. It lacks absolutely nothing. This means mechayiv.
That's why everything is sourced from there.
Everything is absolutely.
Nothing else. It's no other place.
Not only there is no other place, yeah, of course, but that's not the concept you're saying. You're saying the atzmus inherently is mechayev absolutely everything, because it is perfect and has absolutely no limit. If it has absolutely no limit, so what cannot come from nothingness? Nothing. But here it is a positive nothing. This means it actually forcing and bringing everything out. The who inyan, and this is the inyan. But from what the Rambam says, sheme'amitas himotzei. Here is the word amitas himotzei. Amitas himotzei means the truth of his presence. What does that mean? Because his presence is so true, so absolutely true. Not like the presence that we are aware of, that it's not a true presence. It's a presence under certain circumstances. It's not an absolute presence. If it is here, it's here. If it's not here, if it has this effect or that effect. Amitas himotzi means that it's a true presence. It's an absolute. And therefore, nimtzu kol ha-nimtzoim. From this comes all the nimtzoim. Umeshum zeh, for this reason, oimrim al zeh shehu bechinas koyach. This is why we can refer to the union of atzmus as, and that which will come from atzmus, as the union of koyach. You say that there is koyach without poil. Why is it called koyach? Not because it contains koyach, but because everything comes from it. Ahai norak masha mechayev hakoyach. This is only to intone the union that mechayev hakoyach, that it permits, it forces everything. In other words, there is nothing that it cannot do. That cannot come from it. Because it's perfect. But not avaleine shayach shom, but there in Atzmus it is inapplicable. It's incorrect to say loy bechinas koyach v'loy bechinas poil. Bechinas koyach, to be able to identify koyach, no, there is nothing. As a matter of fact, the similar inyan Of course, on the level that we're talking about in the Moshel, Koyach HaTzameach Shabbat. Koyach HaTzameach Shabbat. You wouldn't know it's there unless you plant something in it. There's nothing in the earth that screams, oh, I have the koyach to produce, to grow. V'yesh loymar, and then the Rebbe concludes that it's also conceivable to say the bedugma kozois, that in a similar fashion, hu gam kim bechinas etzem ha'oir. Briefly, what this is alluding to is that in the oir eleki, in the godly oir that emanates from Atzmus, which means the Gilui of Atzmus, there are two basic aspects, two basic madrigas. What's called Etzem Ha'oir and Hispashtus Ha'oir. Hispashtus Ha'oir is how the oir manifests itself. Etzem Ha'oir is the essence of the oir itself. To explain this very briefly, clearly we're not in a position here to go into this. Oir, the term oir is applied to a manifestation that reflects directly its source. Just like the oir hashemesh. The sun and its light are a reflection of one another. Why does the sun produce light? Because the sun is light. Except this is the essence, the source of light. And this is when the light spreads forth from the sun. Oir is, as opposed to, in contrast to what's called shefa, that when you speak, which is also a manifestation, essentially what you think and what you feel and what you understand and so forth, but it's not a direct reflection of the essence of the person. Even if a person speaks truly exactly what he has in his mind, what he has in his heart, until it comes into his speech, it has been digested and filtered through, and it's no longer the same. It's not reflecting the force the way it is in the mind. Nowhere near. Oir is in fact reflecting the moir. That means that with the same purity that exists in the moir is then manifest in the oir. This is called the etzem oir. And then from this comes the hispashtus oir, or along with this. Okay. So this was the parenthetical aspect over here to tell us where we actually concluded, right before the parentheses, that Lemailo is totally not shayach koyach b'lei poyel. Omno. In truth, bebchinas aliyas horotzim, in this level that we call aliyas horotzim. Aliyas horotzim means that there was a rotzim manifest, l'mayla, ksho'olo birtzoinei lahatzil, that there was a rotzim l'maylo lahatzil to reveal. Harei netzlu hu eses fireis be'erein soif. The eses fireis were already revealed. Be'erein soif, the eses fireis as they are contained in the erein soif. Gam koidem ho atzilus v'koidem hatzimtzum. Even before atzilus and before the tzimtzum, Kniska kanal b'shem ha'paras, as we said before in Paras. In other words, Esses Fires actually were contained in the essence of the oil even before the whole creation. V'yesh loymar, and here it can be added, Dezehu bechinas oisiyes horashimu k'moi shehein lifnei hal-tzimtzum. That this is the oisiyes horashimu as they are present before the tzimtzum. What is this referring to? But when the inner tzimtzum is described, it says that there was a tzimtzum in the oil in Seif, and the tzimtzum removed the whole gilui, the whole oil. That's what tzimtzum means. And there remained, as we said before, a mokim ponui. But in this mokim ponui, there also remained a rishima. Rishima mokim ponui. What does rishima mean? A trace. A trace of what was before. The concept of a trace of a rishima is as follows. Can be related as follows. If you write something on a piece of paper and then you erase it, so there is a trace left, or something was written over here. Something was written over here. But what was written is impossible to read. In other words, the whole Gilui has been removed. But what remained? The fact that something was written. In other words, which part of it remained? The most physical aspect of it. The lowest part. The fact that it was written. When you have a writing on a piece of paper, so what is the essence of the writing? Is the thought that's in it. What is the mitzias, the gashmis of it? Is the oasis that you write with, that you read. So the thought and the ruchnius, when you erase it, you can't trace it back. That has been removed. But the fact that it was a real mitzias, it was written, that doesn't get erased. This is what creates the rishima. It's an aberration. Since it became a mitzias on a piece of paper, it doesn't get removed, even if you erase it. This is the marshal, the concept of a rishima, that in the oil in Seif, it was pure oil. Absolutely. What does pure oil mean? Follow this. We cannot think without letters, without words. But in our souls, in the neshama, the midos don't have letters. And the seichel, the pure seichel, does not have letters either. The letters are added onto it in order that we should be able to contain and to have these thoughts in our brain and our heart. We should be able to think about it. This is, the oisias are like kalim for the oil. But the oil itself, like the Alter Rebbe explains, in the heart itself there are no oisias. Surely not in the mind, in the seichel, there is no oisias. It's just pure seichel. The oil lamaila, so the oil lamaila is also said pure oil. In other words, it's not dependent on oisias. like we have in our machshava, that the oir is dependent on oisius. So it's nevertheless contained within that oir are the oisius through which this oir can be nizgala. This is the inyan, that this oir is not just a concept, but it's a real thought. So far, do I have this last sentence? I'll explain to you, but so far you understand what I'm saying. We have, in our own experience, we can think of something, like maybe hisboinus. Hisboinus means you were thinking in a mimer, you're thinking an inyan that was explained, and you're actually relating to the explanation, relating to something that's true and real, and you're trying to understand it. Then there is thought, imaginary thought. You're imagining something. What is the difference between imagining something and thinking about something real?
The real thing is there in your mind. You already have a clear picture of it. When you're imagining something, you're still putting together pieces.
After you put all the pieces together.
I'm trying to imagine what the difference is.
When you're imagining something, you're not basing it on any reality. And thus, it does not really represent a reality. What does it represent? At best, wishful thinking. Something you imagine where the whole mitzvah of it is created right there in your thinking. And it's created because you would have wanted that it should be. But you're not relating to something real. Since you're not relating to something real, when you remove that imagination, there's nothing left. It's because it wasn't real in the first place. A dream. A person dreams. And during the dream, it appears to him mamash a reality. And he wakes up. He wakes up and he was mamash, he actually experienced something, he lived through something. And then he wants to remember, what was the dream about? What happened to it? It was so real, I really thought it. What was it about? Nothing is left.
Except for some parts of the dream that really happened at some point.
The dream aspect, in other words, what remains is there is the fear or whatever it is. Could be a nightmare, could be a pleasant thing, whatever it means. The experience remains with him in terms of he remembers that experience, but the actual thought that went through, he has a hard. It's almost impossible. Sometimes, very rarely, if he dreams about the pshat and gemara, he can remember. But otherwise, he loses it. He loses it because the whole thought consisted in the thought, not in something real. That the thought was not based on anything, was not founded. There was no basis for it. Therefore, it can be erased as non-existent. But if the thought is real, then even though it's a pure thought, he's thinking really of the concept, not of the words and the letters, but the concept and the words and the letters that through which they get expressed is real. And sometimes just the reverse will be true. Sometimes he'll forget the concept, but he'll remember some of the forms, some of the words that went through his mind. And maybe these words will remind him of the whole concept. Even though at the time, these words were secondary, were just a means to contain the thought. Because if something is real, a real thought inherently contains the means, the oisius through which it can be described. Even though the thought is actually geared and focused on the concept rather than on the description of it, than the words.
Why is it so?
I'm sorry?
Why? Why is it so that the real thought has a means to be put into letters?
The reason for that is that a real thought exists not only because you are thinking about it. It doesn't exist only in your mind. It exists in reality. And anything that exists in reality has a means to be present, inherently. Existing in reality does not only mean it can exist. Existing in reality means it actually exists. I'm sorry? Amitas emots.
No, that's fine. Because
Well, ultimately it's amitas
it's
emots.
everything.
Yeah, but it has it has a reality in existence. It actually exists. It may be very spiritual, it may be very remote, but it actually has a place. And because it has a place, therefore it inherently has the means by which it can be expressed. Every seichel, it says, every midah and every seichel contains within itself the oisius through which it will be ultimately expressed.
So it's part of creation, yeah?
What?
It's part of creation.
It's part of a real thing.
Of an existence.
Of a real existence. And this is why we say that there was a rishimu, that even though there was a tzimtzum, and the oyer, the light was moved, but there was a rishimu made, left. Rishimu means that the reality of it remained. So you don't see what it says, you don't see what it's about, but that there is something there, it remains. But this something is called the oisius horshimu, the oisius that were part of the oyer shelifnei hatzimtzum. So in essence, as we are going to see later, in essence, these oisios are higher than the oil that comes later on into the oisius. Because the oil that comes later on the oisius is an oil that comes after the tzimtzum. Whereas these oisius are representative of the oil that was before the tzimtzum. Okay, this is a separate thing. But he says here, that these SS spheres that were contained in the oir, this is ultimately the oisis or shimuk meshayin. In other words, this is the means by which this oil can ultimately be revealed. And this is why this ultimately, when there is the tzimtzum, it remains a reshim. Yes, Aaron.
So, on paper, when you write something, then you erase, then something left, right? You say. So it shows you on that something was written here, right? And but it also shows that before that it was nothing written there. Because the fact, right? So does it say? Can you also say that this all this, I don't know how you call this thing, but all this the light that before it seems, right, and also the reshima which is in it, which is higher than even the light. It's also not wasn't always there. I mean, as it is, it was a clean piece of paper still. In the beginning, I mean, before all the process.
This also came from Amitas
Right.
from
So
Atzmos.
right. So
The Atzmos is like the blank piece of paper.
Right. So that's what I was talking.
Shal Zeh Omer B'Zeir B'Tchilosei. Regarding these oisies, Harshimu, and the SS spheres that are contained within the Oyesh Lifnei HaTzimtzum. So it says in Zeyar, in the beginning, Beroish Hormanisa de Malko. Beroish Hormanisa de Malko means, Hormona means the will, the Rotzah. In the beginning of the will of the king, Goliv Glifu Bithiru Ilo. Goliv Glifu means he made a scratch, Bithiru Ilo, in the oil. Tehiro means the purity, the supernal purity. Tehiro Ilo, the higher purity. In other words, the oil itself is perfectly pure, and he made a scratch in it. What does this mean? The betchilas hiserus horotzei. It means that in the beginning of hiserus horotzei, but there was a rotzei hiseru to create goliv glifu. There was a scratch made. What does that mean? Sheheim bechines chakikas hooisiyos shebeatzmius. This is defining the oisiyos as they are in the atzmius itself. The oisiyos means the means by which the oil can be nizgal.
What is it,
The atzmius, in atzm.
In atzm of the oil?
In atzm of the oil and in atzmius itself. In other words, from atzmius there was a gilui of oisiyos.
Oh, it came together.
Yeah.
It's not separate things. So why is it he made a scratch in the light? Afterwards, after light was already there, so he made a scratch. Why not together came? Because it says that oysters were be'atmis, right? Kikas be'atmis. No, so
The atzmius refers to this tehiro law.
oil.
Yeah. And then there was kikas oasis in the tehiro. So it's no longer tehiro pure, but there is oasis in it. Vezehu mashashir be'atzmi b'koyach. And this is also what's referred to as shir be'atzmi b'koyach. Shir means he approximated or he measured be'atzmi within himself b'koyach. B'koyach means at the level of koyach. What did he approximate? It says, Kol ma she'osid li is b'poel. Everything that will eventually come b'poel was first designed be'atzim. And this shir be'atzim is already a scratch, so to speak, in the purity of the light. This is the Rishim. V'hu inyan harishima the koydem hatzim, the hoin hashim. This is the union of the rishim. The koydem hatzimtzum, where before the tzimtzum, heir bohem oir hoin soiv begil. Before the tzimtzum, the oir hoin soiv was made in these oases begil. And this is why there were no oases, there was just the oir. And then the tzimtzum removed the oir and allowed the oasis of Shimo to remain.
Why do you say the same words for, he said, Masha Shir Be'atzme B'Koyach, you explain that it means that he already decided what's gonna come from Koyach to Koyach, right? So why you...
No. He created it B'Koyach.
Meaning that meaning that he decided what's going to be created.
Right.
That's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything that's going to be created, but not everything should be created. He measured the shear. He decided to create certain things, right? And so why do you call it? That's what it means to put the beginners of the oasis into the.
Because before that, there was nothing.
Oh, so you call
it was purity.
There's the shear itself called oasis.
Yeah.
The fact that he measured what he wants to reveal.
Right.
Called oasis.
Hmm. Okay. This is okay. One more wrong in this. Then furthermore, according to another variation, where it's explained the inyan Brejul Nisa de Malko. Now this madrega that we said before in the Zohar, Brejul Nisa de Malko, the beginning of the Hurman is the will of the king. So it's explained there that that this is Rosh Nisi is higher even than what we call now Aliyah Zorotzin. As it's explained in Hashana Samahei in Machshava Verotzin. Yeshleimar. So according to this, and then we have to explain the Oasis Horishimu, that the Oasis of the Rishimu Hein Lamailo Gam Bebechinas Kshol B'Tzein. This is Horishimu. Now this we said that Aliyah Zorotzin, this is what created the Oasis Horishimu. But if we say Rosh Hurmenisa de Malko, and then there was Goliv Glifu, there was the scratch made in the Tiro law, and this is the Oasis Horishimu. So therefore, according to us, the Oasis Horishimu are higher even than Aliyah Zorotzin. V'yesh loymar. What type of voices are this? This is just a reference. The Zehu Dugmas Bechinas Oasis HaMachshova. That this is like the Oasis HaMachshova HaMuhu B'Likudetei B'Ramaskil Ovi Mashakos B'Yitzchayim Sepirikim. Anyway, Nimtzo Muvah now. From all of this above, we should see the Lamailo Bechinas HaKoyach Einoi Choser Bechinas HaPoyach. The Bechina of Koyach is not lacking the Bechina of Poyach. And I'm using the word Bechina very intentionally. That which is defined as Koyach is not missing that which is defined as Poyach, because the Koyach is also there by Poyach. It becomes a creation. Ve'im Kain, and therefore, coming back to our original question, Yev Shar Loimar, we cannot say the Bishvil Zeh, that because of this, for this sake, in order to bring the koyach to the state of poil, hoyo amiti sibas abriya. That this was the true siba, the true cause for the bria, because it was something incomplete. Shaharei hoyo sholem bebechina shleimus keichesav u'pe'elesav. Since that he was complete in the aspect of koiches and piulas that they were complete, gam ad shelo nivroi. Even before the world was created. So therefore, this which we brought down from the Yitzchayim, that it accomplishing the union of shleimus, of revealing shleimus kichesov. So the Rebbe said before, it actually accomplished it. In other words, it brings it to the point, but not that the shleimus was lacking before, and therefore that cannot be the true, the ultimate siba for the creation. It's also true in itself, but it's not the ultimate siba for the creation. Likewise, this which we brought down from the Zohar before, that the creation is begin the Ishtim Meidulei, so that he will be known. However, where is the Ein Sof known principally? Where is it really known? It's only in the higher worlds. In the higher worlds, in Atzilus and higher. Because there is a real Gil of Ein Sof. V'hainu Gilui HaKav, the Ein Sof is the Gilui of the Kav, Shemeir Ba'olam Es Ein Sof Shelifnei HaTzimtzum, that is completely revealed in the higher worlds. It's called the Olam Es Ein Sof, the Olam of the infinite worlds, which precede Atzilus, V'gam Ba'olam Atzilus, and even in Olam Atzilus, V'yoidim U'masigim B'chinas Mehus Alakus Mamosh. There is the capacity to know and to comprehend Mehus Alakus, the true aspect of Alakus. But in the low worlds, in Biyah, there the oir becomes concealed. Which means that the oir is not forthcoming begilui v'chol ha'idea v'hasog, and all that we have in idea v'hasog, only knowledge and comprehension. Gam be'olam esoy biyah haruchniim, even in the ruchnis, the most ruchnistic levels of biyah, ho b'vchinas hametzios delakus lei b'vchinas mahusei mamash. It is only in the metzios of Holocaust, but not in the Mahus Holocaust. And therefore we conclude that there isn't real knowledge. This is going to be developed. I want to take it easy over here to understand the differences in Mahus, but this is all leading to the point. The Zohar says that the point of creation is so that he will be known. So that explains why Atzilus was created, and higher than Atzilus. What about Biyah? Biyah, there isn't real knowledge of Holocaust.
Why was the above Atzilus created so he'll be known? There was nothing below Atzilus. The above world was created so he would be known. Above Atzilus.
The Zohar says that. That we have to understand separately. But the Zohar says that the creation is begin the Yishtemedumle, so that he will be able to be known. So the Rebbe says, if knowing Holocaust, so that it can be only spoken of in Atzilus and higher than Atzilus. But in Biyah there isn't real knowledge of Holocaust. And that knowledge that they do have is only in Metzias Holocaust and not B'mahus. And this is what I want to take up Mitchim tomorrow and explain the Metzias and Mahus that he is touching on here. Our class will continue tomorrow because Wednesday is Pesach Sheni. So I'm going to have the general class on Pesach Sheni, instead of instead of Tuesday. Okay. So,
If I can talk to you for 5 minutes
Sure.
before you leave.
Sure. Sure. This is only an introduction to the Hemshech. It's a lot of Kabbalah in it. But ultimately, we're going to get into things that we can put our teeth in, and chew up and digest a little bit.
All right.
Okay.